Hey, welcome back to Men Do Therapy, a show dedicated to men on their journey to mental wellness. Today's topic is my brother's keeper, and we talk a little bit of basketball. All right, everybody, welcome back to Men Do Therapy. I'm your host, Rene Garcia. So glad for you to be here today. You got a couple of things I want to cover as we wrap up Men's Health Month here in June 2021. But before we do that, do you like the shows? Do you like the episodes? Have there been something that we covered that has stood out to you? If there has, please like, subscribe, turn on your notifications. It's the only way that we can get people to really spread all the information that we have supporting men getting therapeutic help, mental health, mental wellness. And so please like, share, subscribe. I would love for you to continue to get information and notices whenever a new episode comes out. All right. So thanks a lot. Appreciate the support so far. A couple episodes in, still getting our feeling and our wheels going, but I've really enjoyed doing this and really enjoyed the feedback we've gotten so far. All right. So before we go into today's topic, I want to talk a little bit about basketball. For those that know me, basketball is probably my number one favorite sport. I remember the good old days of being in Houston and seeing the Rockets win the championships in the early 1990s, 93, 94. And so basketball has always been probably my favorite sport. And surprisingly, I actually have, well, not surprisingly, my family's not a big jersey family, and my brother's probably the bigger sports fan out of all of us, and he actually never even got a jersey till recently. And so I think back in 2017, 2018, whenever Chris Paul was with the Rockets, I actually bought his jersey, and this was the first jersey I ever bought. And I was really excited about it. And then he got traded like that summer. And I was like, but then, of course, he got injured that year. So now seeing Chris Paul with the Phoenix Suns, and as of last night, they're advancing to the NBA Finals this year. Couldn't be happier for the guy. They call him the point guard for a reason. I just want to show this clip from the game last night. Just really shows his talent. Here he goes, going towards the rim, underneath, totally fakes out the defender. Hits this. Just insane. Watch this. All by himself. I mean, I just don't understand. He just never misses mid-range shots like this. It's just almost a guarantee he's going to always make these little shots. And so shout out to the Phoenix Suns. I mean, he has played with some really huge players before. David West in the New Orleans Pelicans. When he was with the Clippers, he was playing with Blake Griffin in his prime, as well as DeAndre Jordan. He played with James Harden with my Rockets, and they were predicted to go pretty far, but, got, stumbled there with his injuries. Got traded around a couple places and finally ended up with the Phoenix Suns with Devin Booker, and just seeing them go to the final. It's crazy with all the super teams, super teams in LA, super teams in Brooklyn, and these guys just, are breezing through. Now, who they will fight in the finals or who they will play in the finals, who doesn't, I don't know. I think they'll probably end up being the Hawks because Giannis is out with an injury, but who knows. But shout out to Chris Paul. He's been pretty active in the players' unions, active in social justice events. And so, yeah, it's just a great player. So I'm really excited about the finals. All right, enough sports talk. Let's go into our main topic. But before we do that, I also want to give a shout out to an organization. Here, I'm going to move the mic so you can see the shirt. Shout out to Oakleaf Lindo, created by a good friend of mine, Anibal Soto, and Serzi, his beautiful fiance, soon-to-be wife. They're from the part of DFW, Oak Cliff, Texas, born and raised there. And he's created this nonprofit organization to help clean up some of the areas, the parks, the neighborhoods, things like that. So shout out to him. Gotten a lot of love for rocking the shirt. So really excited to see more events they put on. All right. So today's topic, my brother's keeper. As we wrap up Men's Health Month, one of the things I want to talk about is really how we can care for each other and really be able to recognize when the people around us may be struggling and what to do if that does happen. Because ultimately, for the most part, we're just friends, right? We're friends. We have people in our lives that we love, people that we care about, people that we are concerned about. And really, these close friends we're usually the first line of defense in picking up something that may be wrong or something may be off with the person. So I wanted to go over some tips that if you see a close friend, someone around you, a family member that may be struggling, what to do, and making sure that we are, as a community, wrapping around them and helping them out. All right. Number one, don't assume everything's all good. I think that's probably one of the most dangerous things we can do, is just kind of assuming they'll be all right, they'll get over it. They've gone through worse before in the past. They can handle this. I think when we assume that our friends or loved ones are able to, these men in our lives are able to get through things and kind of power through and, pull themselves up by the bootstrap, we're just kind of ignoring a lot of what they may currently be going through. And that person that you may know may have been able to go through some really tough things a couple years ago. They may have been able to go through some really tough situations pretty easily, but there may be some situations that they may just not have the skill set to address at this moment. So don't assume. Don't assume everything's going to be okay. And we'll lead us into the next one, is to, number 2, ask questions, stay curious. Whenever you're asking questions and just remaining curious, you're not being nosy. You're not trying to get into someone's space. You're just simply wanting to know more. And the best way to do this also is to not ask closed-ended questions. Because if I ask somebody, hey, bud, hey, man, are you sad? A lot of the times they're going to say, no, I'm not sad. But if I ask them, hey, what's going on? What's making you sad? You look sad today. What you're doing is you're opening up. You're recognizing the emotion that they're kind of outside what we call affect, or the outside of their appearances showing, and you want to know more. When you're doing that, you're asking them to elaborate on what they're specifically going through, which leads us to my third point, number 3, listen. If someone's willing to talk to you about these things, if someone's willing to open up to you about them, listen to what they're saying. Don't make it about you. It's not about you right now. If you're in a good spot, you can make it about you if there's something you can relate to, but you really want to make sure that we focus back on them. How are we listening to them? How are we giving them a space or a place to listen, right? Which leads us to the last one, not the last one, the second to last one, is how can we rope in friends, bring in friends if we need some support? At the end of the day, a lot of us don't have the clinical training to address some of these issues. We're not a treatment team. We're not a facility. You're basically just a loved one or a friend looking out for another bud. So be able to wrap in some friends. Say, hey, look, I'm really worried about this friend. What can we do to help? You don't want this to be all on your shoulders, because that adds a lot of stress, a lot of more concern for you. And let's say you're in a good moment at this day, you may not be in the future. So how are we bringing in people to really get some help, close friends, close confidants, or people around that can support? The last point, really important. How do we remain present? Okay. Remaining present with someone in these situations is a way for us to prioritize them in your life, a way to show them that they matter to you. I want you to think of all these social media posts where someone, may have lost someone, lost a pet, lost a loved one. And a lot of people write underneath those things and it says, hey, call me if you need anything. Call me what you need, I'll be there. In my experience, a majority of those people rarely call. It's when we reach out to them, we remain present in their lives. We make sure that they know that they matter in our lives and we want to be involved with them. Those are the ones that really take us up on that offer of saying, you know what, I do have something I want to say. I do have something I want to express to you, or I do have something I'm going through. So, as therapists and mental health practitioners, we are trained to go into deep and really to, have these deeper conversations, get to know some of the source of these problems and help people work through these issues. But a lot of the times in my experience, the first line of defense are these loved ones, these friends, teammates, coworkers, all these things where you just kind of see people every single day. You know when people are off. So use some of these tips. Let me know what works. Comment below. I'd love to know what you think about it. And of course, if this was helped out, you found it interesting, like, share, subscribe. We do shows every week. And check out our Instagram page at Men Do Therapy. All right? Y'all take care. Until next time, peace.